Hello everyone, I hope everybody's doing fine. Um, this is Expert 3C Complete. Um, so this completes everything as far as the expert lessons is concerned. Uh, I didn't get as many views on the last one, which I understand because it's now we're going in a very, we're going in it's really complex, and I know it's very hard to follow unless you've been through all the lessons. So for now, I felt I feel very good about it, and I know that it's going in the right direction. So we're going to keep continue. And I know it doesn't have as much dance move. I mean, like whatever you take, like I explained, whenever you take a class about something that's really complex, it gets to a point to where you have to learn a lot of foundational points, and those foundational and those excuse me, and those foundational points are very hard to grasp, and it doesn't come in with a lot of visuals, so it's kind of hard to take, and it's hard for people to follow for now. But I was researching about new things that people learn, and they usually say if something comes out, a lot of times when things came out that people were not familiar with and they were new, pretty much a handful of people are able to grasp what's going on. But anyway, like I said, this lesson doesn't have any doesn't have a stage. I mean, a shelf life, meaning that it pretty much stays new, and it's pretty much something that lasts a long time. That lasts, and it doesn't get old with time because it's things that are really futuristic, I think. Okay. Because I see things, I'm looking for part that's something I'm going to use that I used before that changed, and we're going to use that. Okay. I used it in one of my earlier videos, and so also, which I didn't state the title. This is the end of the expert lessons, which is 3C Complete, and the subject is force, direction, speed, and this is the directional part. This is the speed part. I'm gonna get this chair that I kind of made up a chair. I think I can use this as a chair because I'm gonna talk a little bit. Now, like I said, we're on force, direction, and speed. I said that I would speak a little bit about what happened last time when I did the direction part. One thing I didn't expect was the fact that it was very intense, and I wouldn't be able to speak as freely as I wanted to. But in retrospect, it really was perfect. I mean, the way everything worked out, because I did explain in one video what was going to happen. I mean, like the things that I would talk about. So it was good that I did the expert 3C2A and 3C2B. So that was complete, and it was a very good experience. There's only one thing that I wanted to explain to you about, because I went over it, is when I did the right turn. There was like U-turns. It was in a vortex. It's just like you're in a vortex. That's what I wanted you to get the feeling of. And a lot of it was like U-turns, but when there was a turn, especially the turn out, like I said, you look ahead and then you get the premonition. And like I said, the premonition has nothing to do with general terms of premonition. This is something that we use in Dance Without Music, meaning you see something and you grasp the fact that you can do it and you can see yourself doing it. And that's what we're going to use as premonition for Dance Without Music. But I didn't what I wanted to express is like I'm gonna put this here, and then I'm gonna put this here so you can see it, and then when I did the right turn out, or I'm not gonna say right or left, remember that, especially since this splits around. So I did a turn out. I should have gotten a premonition, but again too, I know that I had a premonition, and I did the premonition, and I just went like this, okay? But it wasn't supposed to be done like this. As far as the diameter, which I wanted you to concentrate on, which is a directional point, means it's advancing. Also, when you have directions, you should understand that with directions comes advancement or measurements, like I explained. So when I should have done it this way. So I'm gonna explain it to you. And then out, okay? If I come back in, I should do, wait, I'm sorry. I come back in, like that, something like that, okay? Another thing that's happening now is that, remember when I told you about this side and this side? This is the quadrant, the natural quadrant, and this is the other quadrant. And I explained to you about here, I'm able to do this, but not able to do this. But it's advancing in such a good direction. And because I'm on precision now, it's it's going in the right direction. Because now I'm at the point where I can perceive, not the premonition yet, but I can perceive where it's going, where this one is an advanced feature. It's so awesome, okay? But that's in, I think it's gonna come out in I'm almost sure it's going to come out in precision, because it's something that's really beautiful. And that's, like I said, and I told you it was an advanced feature, and now I know that it's an advanced feature because of the progression that I'm working on as far as the other quadrant is concerned. I don't really talk about the other quadrant, but I did say it's like a secret or something very advanced, okay? So as far as that's concerned, so this is an expert complete, 3C complete. I went over that, I did my introduction. I hope everybody's doing fine. And that was pretty much, I mean, as far as explaining what happened last time, force, direction, speed, concentration on force, I don't think that there's anything else I wanted to add. Only other one point, when I showed you the introduction to it in the park, if you really stop that and look at the directions as far as they talk about, like how you should be when you do the labyrinth, you would pretty much see that Dance Without Music is going in the right direction, because you would look at that introduction sign and you would say, oh, I mean, I have more information than, because you do Dance Without Music and you understand Dance Without Music, you have more information as far as the setup and what to do when you're in it and what to do when you come out. But pretty much, like in that sign, they say when you leave, it's like a big deal. But usually, when you get through this level, you will see that it's not really, because you control, or you're in control now of the things that happen to you, subjectively. And remember, I said subjective is anything within yourself. I totally tore apart subjective and objective in Dance Without Music. Subjective is, like I said, it's everything that you have. Everything that you conceive of personally. And then objective, and this is as far as Dance Without Music, is everything that you share with others as far as people is concerned. And also, I showed you briefly in one of the videos, I'm not sure which one, as far as if it was if it was C2A or C2B, but I stated, I kind of stated, I think I lost the point. Okay, but I'll probably get it back. Okay, so anyway, it was just a small point, and if I come up with it, I'll do it. Okay, so now we're getting into force, direction, speed, okay? Concentration, speed. And I used this before, okay, as far as the mechanism, when I think it was in around the control expert, when I was talking about control and everything. And I already explained to you also, as far as the updates, this is going to help me to explain to you speed. And I explained that we have the apparatus, and then I explained to you the mechanism. Like I said, I mean, you have an apparatus when you do something. If I do this, and I explained it with the belt last time, but now it's this, okay? And we're getting into it now. This is the actual lesson. My body's, getting back, okay, the apparatus. I noticed there's the control is trying to simulate an apparatus. And I'm using this so I have a mechanism, okay? And you could pretty much use mechanism, like I said. It was not going to be, we're not going to have, we're not going to use too much plurals. Plurals are nice, but it's pretty much good for general things and when you're speaking and stuff like that. But for something complex as what we're studying, you pretty much have to go into yourself and understand a lot of things. So I'm not going to use the plural. Like I said, when we say mechanism, it could be like both these things as far as mechanism is concerned. And I explained to you mechanism, when you're in, like for instance, we're on this level of understanding. And as far as the body is concerned, because I don't use body, a lot of time, and a big reason why I don't use body, because there's studies. I mean, there's biology, there's even dance that people dance. That's a study. We have nervous system, that's a study. We have things that people study in people's minds, so many things, and those are precise studies. So I'm in a study. I haven't really figured out the name yet. We're doing it together. So I don't mention things that have already been complete or already are active studies. So I say mechanism because I'm on a level of understanding, a perception, and a perception. I'm doing this over again because I know I stated it, but this is important. So at this level of understanding, the things as far as the body is concerned, I call it the mechanism, okay? Because I'm in a perception. Where we are, where I can perceive the body is a perception. So I use that. It's like I'm standing on the hill. I'm standing on just say on a hill. And some things I pronounce a little bit different. And everything I see out there is from my perception. So we're at at the perception of where we are. Anything that's related to the body itself, I call it, as far as right now, it's called a mechanism from where we are in our understanding. So like right now, what I'm saying is that, okay, like I have this chain, and it's nice because I did it once in this lesson, but I can feel like I call it the control for now. There's only one thing, and we're going to get into it later on. I'm not gonna go up. I'm not gonna interrupt my this lesson now to tell you another little point, but so that we can move on. Okay, the control is trying to is searching for to make this apparatus. I can feel it. I mean, and it came up with the fact that I'm saying it, but it's me, okay? It's my control, okay? It came up with the fact that I did it last time, and I explained to you what I was gonna do. But I told you I put a lot of time into each section, at least 100 hours. This one it was a little bit more. So I kind of, like to put some information into the control to so that it can simulate something. So this is pretty much like it's simulating what I'm going to do with this, okay? And then once I do it, it'll be stored. So that's kind of complex too, what I'm talking about. But anyway, this is what we're going to use. And I'm making this I'm using, of course, and I don't use a mechanism too much because like I said, we're in a different field of study. But I'm forming an apparatus, okay? I can feel the weight of it, okay? All those things go into, and then once the control gets a precision with its mechanism, with its apparatus, it uses everything. It scans, I guess I can say, the whole mechanism, and it forms a apparatus, okay? So now, look at this. I can feel the weight, and of this thing going down. The movement of it down. See, like I told you, we already went over that too, okay? And I can feel, and this is the formulation of an apparatus, so this is really good experience. Now I can, because I'm holding it, I have like a slight pressure on it. Anything going down, I subtract that out, I can feel it, okay? But my holding on to it is this is a part of our study, is that we can determine by feel the weight or the movement of it going down, because it wants to go down, like I told you, okay? But I can subtract that feeling out now. Before I would just pick it up and not even think about it. Before Dance Without Music lessons. And I can lift it, okay? And I use the force to lift it. One thing, the major thing about the force is that a lot of people, it's not something that you can use all the time. It has to be developed. And I express that you definitely, in order to use the force, you definitely have to be conditioned. Your body has to be conditioned. All those things are very important. We all have force, but like I said, a lot of times it's hidden throughout. If you don't use it and you don't know what it is, it's hidden throughout your mechanism, okay? Hidden throughout your body, I can say that. Which is kind of sad, but that's just the way things are. But now we're at the point to where I could I know where I can feel that going down, but then I can move it with my force. And one unique quality of the force, like when we were in the labyrinth, we used force, meaning that we didn't just walk around. We were actually doing something, and the force is attached to your reality within yourself. I mean, like, you have to be walking. You have to know how to do this. You have to know how you do that. So with that, I can feel this down, and because I know my force, the force also, it doesn't do things subconsciously. I mean, it's like I'm lifting this, okay, with the force, okay? I let it go down, and it's different from going up. But but the weird thing about it is when I lift it, my force lifts it, and when the force goes down, it's still the same force. I mean, going up and going down is the same force, okay? I could utilize with the force, I could utilize the fact that it's going down, and I could go like that. But because I'm at a certain speed, okay, at a certain speed, it's the same thing. But I could utilize the fact that this is going down, and I could go like that. So I could take the force out and let it go down. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much a good intro as far as the speed is concerned. Okay, now, like I said, we are at speed. I'm taking this, and another thing I want to say is that a lot of people would look at the chain, would look at this chain, okay? And that's what we're trying to do. It's just the chain, the chain, the chain. No matter what I do, it's the chain. But with Dance Without Music, and you're getting and this lesson as far as force, direction, and speed, pay no attention, because we're at this perspective is the mechanism, the apparatus most likely is doing the work. So you want to, instead of your whole life, you've always put your attention on the chain. Now you put your attention on the apparatus, okay? And it brings a good point. I really like to put interesting things in it. I think I'm going to tell you the story, but maybe not. Oh, I think I'm going to tell you the story. As far as how your mind has to be. When I say that you have to put your mind not on the chain, but on your apparatus. The reason why this story is important is because a lot of people. One time I was working at this. I was a barista. I'm not going to say which store I worked at, but I used to make coffee. And you always have somebody who wants to, get something. Just really weird people. And this one person tried to, get something free, or not something free, but wanted to make a mistake with the change. Okay, it happens a lot. Wanted me to make a mistake with the change, with my change when I give the money back to him. Okay, when I give the money back to him or her, I'm not going to say who it is. And he talked to me as far as talking to me, and not like he would talk to everybody else. But I didn't make any mistake, because my attention was not on what I was doing. Like I said, like when you work with money, some people just see the money and they work with the money and they work with the cash register. But the only reason why he couldn't do his trick, that I'm sure he did it with everybody else, is because my attention is on my apparatus. What I'm doing is important, yes, but I'm thinking about the apparatus also. So it's like some people use this like hypnotism and stuff like that. This has nothing to do with things like that. It has to do with the truth, the things that really happen. And like I said, because we always put our attention on the chain, someone could talk to you about something else, and because you've just been trained to look at the chain, and that's the most important. But this shows you that you have to have more, that you have to understand what's happening behind the chain. And if you understand what's happening behind the chain, that's where you can't be fooled about certain things. So that's like listen. I mean, go over that story and then you'll understand it. But the reason why I told you the story is because a lot of people do that. They understand themselves much better, and then they understand themselves much better, which understands how life works much better, and then they try and take advantage of people who don't understand themselves and then understand the way that things work. So that clears up about this chain. The only reason why I use the chain is because it's just a good example, okay? So, and the fact that, yes, I'm doing this chain like this, but it doesn't mean anything. Like I told you, everything is just dance without music. Seriously, dance without music. And it is about dancing very well. But it just explains to you how in depth, if we want to really enjoy ourselves as far as dancing is concerned, yes, it does have benefits, but how intricate it really is. So I have this chain, and I'm on the apparatus. I really want you to understand the fact that it's about the apparatus, the forming of the control of what it needs to use to make this apparatus. Okay? Not about the chain. The simplest thing I want to explain to you is not about the chain. So I go in like this, and because I'm at this level, and when you get to the level, you'll understand. I can feel it swinging, and I can feel the controlling it. Okay, so that's force, direction, speed. But we're on speed, so you can feel that I can feel, or you would be able to feel now I'm not talking about the control, now I'm talking about the force, where the force is. And the force is moving so slow, speed, that if you look at the chain, it's not really moving, it can't even make a circle, only because the force is at such a small level of speed, okay? So the speed has nothing to do, all this whole thing I've been talking about, the speed has nothing to do with what you see the chain. The only thing that the speed has something to do with the chain is what you and what you can feel, and the control feels. It's a control is alive, it's a part of you, and I told you it's perfect. Okay? So the control feels what it's doing, okay? So it has a control, but as far as what it's doing, it's like the exhaust of what it's controlling. So yes, this is moving, but this is more like the exhaust of it, okay? So, like I said, it's going slow. Now, I'm going to pick up the speed. Okay, and I'm not going to worry about the chain. However, the control will figure out that, okay, it doesn't want to. It's getting unruly. The force is getting unruly, so the control is going to put more information into the apparatus and say, it can't keep going like that. And that's what I want. So I'm going to pick up the speed, but I'm going to, how can I say? I'm going to make the apparatus in a way to where it doesn't go unruly, because that's what I want, okay? So it's picking up speed, yes. So this is what I decide to do. Is move the chain, but pick up speed, but more like in a orderly fashion, okay? So that's another speed. But if you notice from here, I know this is gonna be boring for people who don't understand yet. So it's from here, I can feel the control. I mean, not the control, but the force, okay, in the apparatus, what it's using, okay? Now the apparatus has to, because I want to do more speed, the apparatus has to, I have to make, add to the apparatus. I'm trying to use words, very general words. And there it goes. But in order to do it unruly, it made a big change, as you can see. Made a big change. But you can see how the apparatus utilized the mechanism to change. Okay? And it's still kind of unruly, but it's better than what it would be. Okay? Okay, now I'm going to pick up a speed again, but I'm going to change it. Now, what it changed, I mean, I had this, okay, that was the first one, and let's see how much it went. That's another change, and then this is another change. But then the apparatus notices that in order to make it unruly, it has to circulate. So that's the next speed, okay? So we have this, because it also has to think about the weight of it, okay? So you have that, and if it was a different material, it also takes into account the material, that's how it's formed, okay? And then I wanted to go faster, so I added, the control added to the apparatus. Okay, now it's going to take out the weight of it, because the control, see, like right now the control, not the control, but the apparatus is to a point to where it, okay, we're going to have to use that term, the other one, hydrogen X. It uses it in spurts, okay? So force is contained, force is force. But in order to explain to you the speed, I have to say hydrogen X, because it expels, okay? It's something that expels, but I'm saying hydrogen X has nothing to do with hydrogen, has nothing to do with anything. I use it because I can see it, I can conceive of it 100%, and from what I studied, it's like that, because it doesn't have any kind of negative or any kind of exhaust. But if I were to continue to do it, it would be more sweat or something like that that you would see expel. So I call it hydrogen X, only for Dance Without Music. So like this right here, the force is expelling like very mild exhaust, or hydrogen X. When it's like this, it spurts. If I put it into a sound, and that's, I'll call the exhaust is hydrogen X, because this thing would just go down if I didn't have any if the force wasn't doing anything. But it's one and I call that, as far the sound is like the spurts of hydrogen X, okay? But now the next level is this, okay? And that's a speed of the flow of the exhaust of force, because the force stays. The force is not going to leave you, okay? Because the force is feeling it, the force is doing the movement, okay? Okay, and the force utilizes the apparatus. I mean, the control utilizes the apparatus, and it uses force, and it's using force. And that's your force in the force fields. The force is you, human. It's just the perfect whatever we can come up with. But this is the force. So it's you, and you see the apparatus now. The mechanism that you see moving, that I'm moving with, is the apparatus. I can actually say that the force is the intellectual or the intelligence of the moving of the chain. In our whole history, the only thing that we worried about was the chain. Oh, this is the chain is going around. But now you're going deep inside to where you know that it's not the chain, it's your apparatus. And you can see my movement to show you about the apparatus. And I'm still on that. I can still move. The reason why I can move around is because the apparatus, the control made an apparatus. And I can still keep this same thing. But that's the apparatus, and that's the force. The force is just here. It's just here. That's it. Okay? And it's intelligent. And you can see the apparatus utilizes the mechanism. And like I said, when I say mechanism, you can see all my movements is the mechanism, or it could just be the feature here as the mechanism. Okay? Okay. So now that's another speed. So I'm sorry, we have to go over this over and over again. So we have this. It's just so that you can understand. Once you understand, you have like a whole book of information in yourself. And you can do with it whatever you want to, as long as it's nice and kind. Yes. Okay, so we have that speed, remember? Then we have that speed. So this is the speed. This is the concentration of speed. And then in order for the force to make another smooth movement in speed, we have to spin it. And remember, it's not about the chain, but look at the mechanism. And then it's still the same speed, but the apparatus can do all these things. I can do everything with this apparatus. And because my body's conditioned, the apparatus can use so many different things because it's conditioned. I'm conditioned. But you see, my apparatus, the control makes the apparatus so it utilizes my mechanism. And I can do a lot of things because I have experience. But the nice thing is that I keep the same speed, if you notice. The same speed. Okay. Okay, so that's that. So now we gotta go to a different speed. But this one, let me see if I can. That's pretty much that speed, and it's pretty much the same speed. It's gonna do that same speed, okay? So now we're gonna go to a different, and I can feel that the force stays the same, but because I wanna be able to describe it. I have to say hydrogen X. I'm sorry. I know it sounds really strange and really powerful, but that's how powerful it is. But it releases that amount, a certain amount of hydrogen X, but the control does not change. So I know it's the control. I mean, no, the force does not change, but it releases, it has the ability to release hydrogen X to make this chain move, because the chain is not, now is not in a weight. The control, I mean the force has taken over with the hydrogen X, which the release of hydrogen X, and that's what's making the chain go around. Okay, so that's as far as another speed is concerned. So we went from here to here, and that speed stays the same. Now we're going to do another speed. Okay, so I have this, and we did this, and we did this, and now we're going to, this is pretty much the speed it's at. Now we're going to go up. And there's something that happens, is the fact that it goes, it uses a certain amount, I can already see, it uses a certain amount, it goes faster, but it, it's like a, as far as hydrogen X is concerned, it loads hydrogen X, but it empties it out. It empties it out, and then it has to replenish it. So that's something that the force does. So at this speed, it empties, and it this speed is the same as this speed. Okay. So right here, which is pretty much the same speed, and this will be considered pretty much number, if you're talking about numbers, it would be this. I don't like, we're going to stop that 1, 2, and 3. It would be this much. Okay. So this one pretty much replenishes, it has the ability, I can see, to release hydrogen X and replenish. While it's replenish and exhaust out. How can I say that? It's hydrogen X. It's able to release and replenish at this speed. Now I'm going to go to a different speed. And that speed, I can see where its release of hydrogen X depletes everything, and it's not fast enough at this point. It's not fast enough to replenish for that speed. So I'm going to go into that speed again, the next speed, and that's it. Okay, so at that speed, which is another speed, that would be like this. Okay, so but it would be it would be the first time that it needs to, that it empties out, and then it has to replenish. So that's the next speed. Okay, now something else happened. I'm going to see something. It's going to figure out now the control, or the and that is true for that case. But now the control adapted. It seems like it adapted, and it made an adjustment in the apparatus to where it can continually seek that speed without stopping. Okay, so right there, you can see that the apparatus, because of the repletion, and not being able to replenish fast enough, the apparatus was adjusted so that it could go on a longer time. Okay, so now it can go on a longer time. Let's see. And that's it. So I don't want to do another speed. That's just because it's just to show you about speed. So that completes. How can I? Okay, before I complete, I want to go over what we went through. Okay, so now we can see that the force. Excuse me. How real the force is. The force. How it works speed. So you have like your slow, you have a slow speed, okay? And we have a slow speed, we have a faster speed, but when it goes to a speed, it pretty much can lock in to a speed. And it goes back to where we started in the beginning, to where we said we had slow, fast, and rhythm. If you go back to the first part, and that's what this actually showed, because we have the fast, we have the slow that we went to, and then pretty much the fast, and then the rhythm. Okay. If you go over the first few lessons, you will see when I stated to you that we have a fast movement. It's like when we were doing the first part of Michael Jackson thing, and we were going like this, and then like that, and that was slow. And then we reached points to where we were doing fast, and then we reached points to where we were doing like rhythm, meaning that it's so many points that you have to cover at least 3 or 4 in order for you to see what's happening. So that completes that as far as the expert is finished now. That completes the expert lessons. What I'm going to do, which I'm going to take a little break, but I'm going to do an introduction. I may do an introduction on precision, okay? Or I may just not. I don't know. It depends. I'm going to take a break and then see. However, this is so. Thank you for joining this last lesson of not precision of Dance Without Music Expert Complete. That completes the whole expert lesson. The next lesson that we're going to do, and you made it this far, and I'll tell you how long it's going to be before you can actually get to this point. I don't have to go over it over and over, but you need everything. You need to start from the beginning to get to this point. It's very important. And that finishes like I said, it's a big deal. It finishes, I think we've been doing this for almost a year, and that finishes the expert lessons. And the next ones that we're going to get into is, I'm playing with this thing, and the next ones we're going to get into is I just want to put it on. Now it's a part of me. The next one we're going to get into is what can I say? Precision. After precision, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, maybe we'll go in. There's a perfection and there's a power. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it, but there's after precision, there's power, and then there's perfection. I don't know if power comes first or the perfection comes first, but this project is really working and it's going in the right direction. And we completed a big deal, which is a lot of lessons at 40 years. it's gonna take that long for you to really get, because you got so many bad concepts. Even with the chain I was telling you about, it's gonna be hard if you try and do it now. It's gonna be hard not to concentrate on the chain itself. Okay, and but that's the thing about the studying is it's about life. It's not about like, oh, I want to do this before I get this age, or I want to do this before 5 years, or I want to do this. I have to do this because I'm going to get old, or I'm going to do this because it's not to calm down, calm down. Now we're telling ourselves that we have time, relax. I mean, you can't relax on everything because I have to get up and go to work and I have to do all these things just like everybody else. But as far as yourself is concerned, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put yourself with pressure and say, I have to have this done at this time or this done at this time. Hold it, okay? Do the job that you have to do and make time for yourself. But when you make time for yourself, don't make time. Make it as if you have all the time in the world. Thank you very much, because you have all the time in the world now. Have a good one.